are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns, but there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
Finally, the decks were cleared for a real military response, not some piece of garbage.
And what is Aleppo?
Excuse me, but is this an unknown unknown?
I'm not going to say which it is.
Please clap.
We don't have a major enemy. I know it hurts your feelings. I know you're upset about it. Who are you worried about? Iraq?
We have finally gotten more police officers on the street.
Gotta shape up.
Is it working?
A 2-year-old cult member was also shot and killed.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators.
And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Whatever the fuck you want.
Who are you worried about? Ronald Reagan.
George H.W. Bush.
William Jefferson Clinton.
George W. Bush. Barack Obama.
Jeb Bush.
Newt Gingrich.
Please clap.
Hello and welcome to Please Clap, a show about our world and how we got here. My name is Chan.
My name is Nico.
Oh, my name is Rob. I thought you were. God damn it! I was just already reading the article. Fuck.
It's too late.
Too late. We're not editing. Editing is dead.
We don't edit
We're
anymore.
not editing.
Raw.
That's Rob.
Yep.
We felt bad for him, so we
Sunday
said
Night Raw. Nobody watches wrestling here?
I'm aware.
Okay.
I'm tangentially aware of it.
I thought that was Monday Night Raw.
I thought it was Sunday night.
I would have thought
Okay.
Sunday night. Pretty sure it's
Well, the
not
internet is
Tuesday,
out,
Wednesday,
so-
or Thursday. So
Or is that football? Am I getting it confused? No, I thought it was
That
Sunday
is
Night
football.
Raw.
Anyways,
if you didn't listen to that last explanation episode, this is a wrestling podcast where none of us watch wrestling. We just talk about what we think might be happening in the world of wrestling.
so this is the first of a new type of episode. We're going to be going through news articles and talking about them. I'm sure you've never listened to a show like that before.
It's a new format that we here at Please Clap are pioneering. Never been
proprietary show type.
It's called Reading TM.
So we're just going to go in order of our alphabetical order from our last names. No, Nicole has a story for us, and then I'll have a story, and then Rob will talk about something.
There might be a little treat at the end that's not a news article, so
ooh,
stay tuned for that.
Tantalizing. Yeah, stick around, listener.
Stick around. A little more so.
Alrighty, yeah, true.
That is true.
Alrighty, guys. That is true. So you've heard of COVID, right? Have we ever heard of COVID? None of you guys? But have you heard about COVID's liberal religious rival and how their godless theocracies are destroying politics and culture?
I love a godless theocracy.
Is that a Fox News headline?
Indeed, it is. I was scrolling. I know, right? We've begun at a horrible place, which is why I didn't want to go first, because But anyway,
the world is.
I was scrolling through the internet and I was like, "What's going on at Fox News?" They typically have a really funny article that I like to laugh at, and I go hee hee ha ha. And this one just kind of got to me. And this was written by the infamous Governor Bobby Jindal. So if you guys don't know about him, he was the governor of Louisiana. So you already know how it's gonna be, y'all. Okay, so here it goes. When the first documented COVID case appeared in the United States 16 months ago, few would have predicted the religious revival it ignited. Wow. Unlike the 4 previous Great Awakenings that expanded Christianity's American footprint, this revival exposed what now is the country's most, oh my God, politically powerful religion, secular scientism.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay. Wait. they're just including a lot of words on top
Thank
of
you.
this word that is already like self-explanatory.
Yeah, and they know what all of those
Are
words
they talking about
mean.
science?
Yeah, and all of those words need to be there. I mean, so
Yeah.
far I completely agree with everything they're saying, though. So I'm waiting for it to get funny or upsetting. So far, totally agree.
Good.
Alrighty, pollsters have for 2 decades noted the rise of the religious
Oh, fuck off.
Nuns?
Religious nuns? People...
Yeah, literally, Rob, you can read that.
NONES.
Yeah, not
dear
NUN.
listener.
Yeah, people who claim no particular religious affiliation or beliefs. So just like non-theists.
Right.
They're just... If only there was a word such as agnostic or maybe like
Right.
atheist or something, but it's...
Careful.
Yeah.
We don't want to use those words.
No,
Those are
no.
trigger words. Okay, careful. The grandfather reading this would probably have a heart attack if he read this.
He just
Okay.
clenches his jaw so tightly that his crowns break when he reads the word atheist.
He can't even type it. He has to say quote unquote religious.
He does like
nuns.
ATH and then a asterisk. Can't even spell it.
Content warning. We're going to be talking about people who don't believe in God.
And this group makes up less than 1/3 of the population, but skews toward a higher educated, upper income, and politically liberal classes. Pew Forum's research indicates solidly secular Americans are 50% more likely to have a college degree and incomes over $150K, and 71% of that group identifies with the Democratic Party.
Oh no.
And there are so many
Interesting.
nested percentages in that sentence. I genuinely have no idea how many people they are arguing are non-religious.
Thank
They're
you.
like, oh, 50% of
wait.
70% of half the country is...
So basically what they're saying is secular people are more likely to be like successful and vote for
smarter.
Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they trying?
See,
Are they
thank
trying
you.
to own?
Well, they're
like,
doing that like they're doing that like what if the Republicans are actually the populist party, which is
yeah,
like kind of
That's
true
interesting.
in a terrible, misleading. It's like, yeah, the Democrats are getting increasingly like upper middle class instead of like lower middle class, lower classes.
Right.
And they're like, oh no, we're really the party of the people. Don't think about it too much, but we're the working man. Bobby
This
Jindal
part
is
was-
constantly out in the fields.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
he's like basically in the coal mines, like
Yeah.
covered in soot.
Yeah.
I just got out of a hard day's work
Yeah, he's-
at the coal mine.
He's always on the coal boats and
Is there any coal
Oil
in
rigs.
Louisiana? Oh,
I-
wait, no, I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
This
Maybe. Probably
this
some.
part got
Somewhere.
this part is like
Maybe.
ridiculous. The scientism practiced today has its own clergy, epidemiologists,
Yes.
with the Center for Disease Control constituting a holiest of holies. And
Oh,
And Dr. Anthony Fauci as a pope. Left-wing belief in an inevitable positive progression of humanity licenses the worship of our betters, even elevating scientists over science, putting clergy over scripture. ¿Qué carajo es eso?
you really gotta wonder, like what are they basing this off of? I mean nothing.
well,
but
no, I do you remember the Anthony Fauci underwear that went on sale in like April of last year? Like, I think this
No.
is like the right seeing all of the libs who are like, oh, I'm calling my vaccine my Fauci ouchie, and I'm like changing all of my social media profile pictures to be Anthony Fauci, and I'm like photoshopping him onto a muscular body that's like beating Trump up in a boxing match or something. Like these people exist. I take issue with calling them left wing because this is the libs, and I hate that this article's stupid, and I hate this article, but this isn't based on nothing.
Well, what I mean is, like, they're not actually going to get into that, though.
No
way.
Like,
no way.
they're not gonna say that, like, or they're not gonna bring those examples to the table. And I think what you're talking about, this person probably hasn't even ever seen. Like, they're purely just upset that people seem to be these liberal elites are like believing in science to the point where they would like give up their freedoms and like reject God and stuff like that. It's like
No,
it's like the Steven Crowder.
Liberals have embraced climate change as their feared apocalyptical judgment day.
God damn it! What does that mean? That's nothing.
It doesn't mean anything.
It's not a judgment day. It's like
it'll be slow and painful.
I'm not a very religious person. My understanding of Judgment Day is when people are judged sort of on an individual level for how they have acted throughout their time on this mortal coil. Whereas climate change is kind of just everyone is fucked. That's not judgment. That's just things getting
you're gonna die.
Much shittier than they currently are.
I just find it so ironic that they're talking about, like, they're comparing it to a theocracy. You know what I mean? Like, Fox News is...
Yeah, the blind belief in, like...
because, like, this is interesting, though, because they go, in Islam, Judaism, and other established religions...
And they all know
but they
a
don't
lot
talk about
Islam,
Christianity.
I'm sure.
Right, they don't talk about Christianity, and they go, the most orthodox adherents demonstrate devotion by wearing symbolic religious clothing in routine daily life. Christians do it with cross-themed jewelry. Same for scientism, whose zealots not only wear masks in crowd, but also while they exercise outdoors, walk their dogs, or drive their cars alone, even after vaccination. For them, mask wearing is not merely an attempt to limit exhaled aerosols, it signals a sincere, if irrational, belief structure.
God damn
Bitch,
it.
are you serious?
That's like, the mask does something, though. Like a cross necklace.
No, you're just projecting your beliefs to the world by saying you're a scientist.
If they had just put a picture up of the like red bubble Fauci panties, then yeah, sure. Yeah, that's weird as shit. That shit fucking sucks. But like the mask is not just a symbol. Good lord. It's like also just I wear a mask more than I need to because I am incredibly paranoid. I have no religious affiliation. I'm just obsessive about disease and contagion.
Right.
Not happy about that. I don't feel like it's good to advertise that, but hey.
It's your right, you know what I mean? Like, you get to do please.
What the hell? My religious freedom to wear a mask?
Also, I have not had a cold in a year and a half, and that fucking rules and is great. And so, maybe I will wear a mask forever.
Yeah.
True. Same. All right, what's next on the crazy conservative side of the world?
Oh, what's next, y'all? Okay. Remember good old Pat Robinson from the...
Pat Robertson.
Oops.
All these white people names. I know. It's hard.
Sorry.
It's hard.
Robertson. Is there?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Can I read one more paragraph from this article?
Yeah, definitely. Oh heck yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nope. Too late, Rob.
The most. So this is right after Judgment Day. lacking room for grace or redemption. They see humanity needing to save itself through an economy of scarcity, tied to the imposition of strict regulations and higher costs. I'm not sure who or what that's referring to. The most liberal dogma increasingly focuses on structural racism as America's inherited original sin and insists no baptism can wash away its stain. To compensate, educated white liberals have adopted their own self-flagellation, whereby they publicly and constantly confess their irredeemable privilege. They will continue to invent new rituals and sacraments, like the wearing of masks and other virtue signaling, to demonstrate their piety and to give their lives meaning. Given their education, income, and influence inside the Democratic Party, these religious zealots will stay politically powerful. Unless the rest of us can persuade them to rejoin more time-tested faiths, we're going to live with this pursuit of a godless theocracy for decades to come. These fucking people think so much more about like all of their like favorite buzzwords and like cudgel. Like Bobby Jindal says structural racism far more than I do, you know. he is always thinking about this shit, and just like I don't know if they realize how much more like central to their politics hating that shit is than like than the centrality of it to like people who say like, oh yeah, I have some privileges because of my skin color. Like, wild. Oof. Also, I just love that this article about fucking COVID is immediately, it ends with structural racism is original sin in these libtards' mind. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's just like little ding 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 words. I think
speaking of that, Pat Robertson.
Okay. Yeah.
And CRT.
Now there's a sinner.
CRT.
Yeah. So this article is from the one and only Pat Robertson from the infamous 700 Club. Those
I think you mean the 700 Club.
700
We're
Club.
700 years old.
I'm 700 years old and I
hung out with Jesus.
I still drive a.
I put him on the cross myself.
So what does this dingus have to say?
Pat Robertson calls critical race theory an evil, urging black people to take whip handle against whites. That is horrifying. I know. The ultra-conservative and this man has a history of making racist remarks, as we see here. Televangelist Pat Robertson is generating controversy after calling critical race theory an academic discipline that examines the effects of racism on legal and cultural institutions a monstrous evil, which encourages black people to take the whip handle away from white people. The 91-year-old Mr. Robertson said on CBN's 700 Club, which
classic CBN.
How is this still alive? Like, how is this man still alive? And how is this show even? Every single time I see the show, it's like in an old TV, and it's like staticky, and you're like, what is this, like from the 80s or something? Like
it's like looking at an object of power in control. Like, it's so familiar but so out of place.
It's a SCP come to life.
So here's exactly what he says. According to his understanding of CRT, critical race theory, and I'm going to do it in his voice. Should I do it in his voice?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Content.
People of color have been oppressed by the white people, and that.
And that's it. That's the quote. That's the article. I regret everything I've done in my wretched life. I pray to God to take me now.
and that white people begin to be racist by the time that they're 2 or 3 months old, and therefore the people of color have to rise up and overtake their oppressors, and then have gotten the whip handle, if I can use that term. Can I use that term? No, you can't.
Who is he asking?
God.
That's what I would say to myself. Then to instruct their white neighbors how to behave. Now that's critical race theory. Now, young lady, get me a glass of water. My mouth is parched.
Oh my god. It really is all the time.
Yeah. It's
you ever hear an old person talk?
I don't want to do the noise.
And it's like after every
Oh my.
it's like, holy shit, drink a glass of water, man.
It'll feel so much better. I'll get you one. Well, I won't get Pat Robertson a glass of water.
Throw it in his face.
Yeah. Hey.
I mean, does he not like make, again, they sort of like self-own themselves.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, not the CRT critical race theory being a monstrous evil, but like,
I feel like they call themselves out a little.
Yeah, it's like people of color have been oppressed by white people. Yeah. White people begin to be racist by the time they're 2 or 3 months old. I mean, that's like a self-report, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
especially
all of his great grandchildren are vilely racist.
Right.
Yeah. So therefore, the people of color have to rise up and overtake their oppressors. Like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Also,
like,
just like fun fact, his dad was, I think, in the Virginia Senate, and was one of the people who were like a huge opponent of like desegregation, or he was like a huge proponent for segregation.
Yeah.
So he's this is his whole like shtick.
He loves to be very racist. That's some of his favorite shit to do, is to be very racist all of the time.
I love being racist. That's it.
Well, also, like, all this stuff about CRT, like, I mean, I feel like it's very obvious to point out, but like, they don't know what they're talking about when they say CRT. Right. Like, they're just like, CRT is just what they say when they want to say we should stop teaching people that slavery was bad. That's what they want to say. Yeah. So what they've come up with is CRT, which is, in my understanding, a very specific legal history theory that none of these fucking people know anything of. All they know is that it says that racism still exists in some pernicious form, and that should be accounted for. They're like, oh, that can't be true. We don't have slaves anymore, so racism is over, and we need to stop putting these dangerous ideas in kids' heads.
Yeah. So, like, what I read one time was, like, conservatives say analyzing these issues through a racial lens is in itself racist. That is like,
oh yeah, what? Oh, I don't see color.
Yeah,
they are basically saying
like,
that's
there, baby.
Right. It's like, well, if we tell them, I'm sorry, Chandler.
I mean, I was just gonna say it does go counter to, like, I mean, when we were kids, we were basically taught like Martin Luther King ended racism.
Basically.
Like that.
Up until high school, at least, that was
Sure.
My charter school definitely
but like
taught me that.
That's pretty much like the, and then you learn about slavery when you get a little bit older. And I had a elementary school teacher who was obsessed with Martin Luther King, and so we were taught about the civil rights movement and stuff like that before I even really understood it.
But it was all teacher.
Yeah. She was
I appreciate that more and more every time I read a fucking article like this.
Yeah, but it's like, it's unfortunate that that's pretty much like where it ends before, like, she couldn't, that's about as far as she can go, and about as far as most
also
educators
that shouldn't be
on
the fucking music teacher at an elementary school. That should be just like taught in that, like
Right.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So
God bless
you know
her.
you say that like, oh, this is about and I know you're kind of joking, but like, oh, they want to say that slavery wasn't bad or something like that. What they want to say is slavery was bad, segregation was bad, and that was it. That's it.
Yeah, like get over yourself almost.
Yeah, you have the same rights as we do. So therefore, look at Kanye West. He has a lot of money. Look at Obama. He was the president. Yeah. All right, well, I mean, racism's over.
Genuinely, I want to be even less sympathetic to the. Not that you're sympathetic to it, but like I really don't think they want to say slavery was bad. I think what most of them want to say is slavery was complicated, and segregation is over. Because like if you look at some like state level, well, not even PragerU, but like curriculum that has been approved by state legislatures, a lot of it is like, well, slavery, that was the way of life back then, and you know some slave owners treated their slaves very well, and it was hard for them when the Union soldiers came. They had to become refugees, the slave owners, and they didn't know what their life was going to be like when they get like. That is not bullshit. Slavery was bad. That is slavery was important and complicated, which is very different.
What DeSantis wants.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty much the gist of old Pat Robert Shins.
He's probably so tired. He should
lie down. Not get up.
Just give him a warm glass of milk and a nice
go to bed.
You should lie down, just put a nice soft pillow over his face and take a nap. Take a little nap.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
What's next?
What's next? You guys ever heard of Newsmax?
Oh, the only trusted source of news
that's where I get all my news. Just
how
kidding.
Isn't Newsmax like some on channel like 250 on like Dish or something like that? Like
I don't know, it's the only one that's based now that Fox is cucked because they didn't they actively support the uprising.
Admitted that Biden was president.
Because they are somehow actually pretty good at calling elections and are like weirdly consistent with it when they do their election night coverage. Pretty reliable. And for that,
the My Pillow documentary.
Oh wow! I forgot about
the 2-hour time slot that he paid for to just say whatever the fuck he wanted.
Wow, totally forgot about that. God. So Newsmax guest Mark Vargas, who is a GOP consultant, calls for criminal investigation of student for saying Allah. And let me remind all of the listeners here that Allah means God, Dios, Yahweh.
Yeah.
Literally the same guy. Yep.
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah.
Maybe a shade darker because here in America we still think he's white.
Not even different lore.
Canon.
This is like Sigmar, in Warhammer Fantasy Battles and
do not say Sigmar to
me. Same God.
For saying Allah during the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, this was okay. So this student, this was at a graduation.
This was a earlier this week. Commentators on a far right cable network, Newsmax, went ballistic after a student at a graduation ceremony at Justice High School in Fairfax, Virginia, said "under Allah" rather than "under God" during the Pledge of Allegiance, even though Allah is just the same thing as God, but in Arabic.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, you should not. We gotta get rid of that.
Sounds spooky.
It's
Yeah. So
bizarre behavior to make kids say that.
I'm sure some of you know this, but the references to God are new in the grand scheme of things. And the original Pledge of Allegiance does not say "one nation under God." That was
implemented in the 50s, right?
Yeah, some anti-communist, what do they call them? Religious nons.
Yeah, religious nuns, which is just an absolute dog shit new phrase to come up with because it sounds like you're saying fucking nuns. The white hats.
Yeah, so just like the Daughters of the Confederacy and all these things about heritage and the origins of there's a lot of retconning in the 50s and 60s of what our heritage and origins.
They really fucked up the lore in the 50s and 60s.
And so it's not even, and like Nico said, Allah just means God in Arabic. I mean, even if she was just trolling, like, good on her.
Yeah.
If she was being serious, good on her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think she should be saying the Pledge of Allegiance, but, if you're going to say it, you might as well, switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I just also, there's nothing more, like, classic contemporary conservatism than, like, getting red in the face and furious about what one high schooler said at a school that you have no connection to whatsoever. Right. Just, like, making a 5-minute segment about one kid at someone else's high school saying also something
just,
you don't like.
And like also just threatening the child to be investigated, like a criminal investigation, which is what.
Well, he's just blowing steam out of his ass. Like,
I know, but like,
yeah.
You know how many other people are like on board with him that are just like,
oh
yeah, that's right, you can't, which is like, that's not true. And this is what we're talking about, the fact that like you guys just like make up shit and then people actually believe you because it's like pro-America. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? I thought we were a melting pot.
It's illegal to burn the flag or stand on the flag or kneel when they're singing the national anthem.
Indeed, it is not. Indeed, it is not.
Yeah. It's the free speech warriors who are actually just fascist and want to say what they want to say, and they don't want you to say what you want to say.
Right. You can't restrict my right to free speech, and what I'm saying is that you should be shot for not folding the flag in a triangle when you're putting it up.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
It's a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, go find that Newsmax video. They had like 6 people on there talking about this.
They lost their mind. They were just like, oh my God. Like almost had like a heart attack there because they were just saying like random stuff that isn't even true. Just like, it's illegal under a statute law. And then it's like people
it's illegal like, under a law. I mean, under the law.
A federal amendment law statute. They're just like putting out buzzwords. And then like old people are just like, oh God, that's terrible. Like
they were really, they had that like trying to impress their older brother's friends energy of like they each tried to be like more and more like authoritarian and fascist as it got to their turn. They're like, this is an outrage, I can't believe they would say something like this. She should be put into military service.
Don't do the salute.
It was just like, guys, calm down. Like, I know like you're eventually the last person in line is eventually gonna call for like her to be killed or something.
Yeah, they were like basically saying that she should serve in the military or something and that she needed to like
Did they specify which military?
I was like, what is this? Like, in what country are we living in when like this is the way that we like talk about our students?
It's America.
Speaking and again, not their students, because none of them have any connection whatsoever to that high school.
Right.
No. No, they don't actually give a shit.
And what does that make us? We're sitting here dunking on these
talking
nerds
about them.
Man, True scum. True bottom feeders.
It's content. It's content, baby. That's what it's all about. Speaking of military service, did you guys hear about how badass the Taliban are?
This is a hell of a URL.
how shitty I guess apparently our efforts at doing anything productive in the Middle East were.
Well,
so
to be clear, what we wanted to do would not have been productive, and I know that's not what you were trying to say.
right. The forward the stated reason why we were there and why some people think that we should have been there. Mm-hmm. That mission that we went on to spread freedom and America. And
to really get
McDonald's.
back at the Saudis for training all of those airline pilots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is an article that the headline is even the Taliban are surprised at how fast they're advancing in Afghanistan. Cool.
Good.
Nice.
Good for that. Job well done. You've worked hard. You really stuck it out.
Basically,
parody.
We are pulling out of Afghanistan in a very weirdly. It reminds me of Starfield's release date in 11/11/22. And stay with me.
I'm lost.
Okay.
So
right. Fucking gamer
so
piece of shit. Fuck.
So Starfield is releasing 11 years to the day from the release of Skyrim, and we are leaving 20 years on the day of 9/11.
Wow.
So Biden,
an incident which had a very little to do with Afghanistan at the time.
Yeah, so we were supposed to be out of Afghanistan, I think by last month.
Wow.
In 2014, I think was the most recent first time.
The last time.
Yeah.
But Biden said, we'll be out of there on 9/11 of 2021. So 20 years after 9/11, we are officially done with we're cleaning our hands of that mess.
Listen, Ben, we're getting out of here. Yeah, it's up to you now.
We've gotten everything we needed from y'all.
Yeah, we made all the money we could, and now we're coming back. So the Taliban are just instantly coming back to where they were, I guess, drawn out from, or they were pushed out of. We got them out of there. We took the Taliban out, and now they're instantly retaking Afghanistan at an alarming rate.
Okay, so my thought on this, there's a reason that this long story is getting written up on NBC while we're trying to pull out, and I'm putting my money on they just want people to be nervous about pulling out, we can't do it too quickly, we're pulling out, and oh wow, the Taliban, they're already advancing, and wow, even they're shocked with how fast they're advancing. This is here to make some people uncertain about if we should be pulling out, which we clearly should.
The way I read it was holy shit, there was no, unless we're going to permanently occupy Afghanistan, there was no fucking point in what we did.
Yep.
No, that's correct. Yeah, that's the only if you're I genuinely think they're getting access to these U.S. commanders and stuff, and Taliban commanders, but they're talking to the military about this, and the military is saying, oh, they're really coming back strong. Oh, you sure you want to be doing this? And it's well, the only other thing is to stay here for fucking ever, because clearly we did not accomplish anything that we wanted to insofar as getting rid of the Taliban in the last 20 fucking years that we were there. And it's this is like you're trying to do some consent manufacturing, but the facts on the ground reflect so fucking poorly on you that the only way you can do that is by owning yourself and talking about how bad of a job you've done, so that you need to be there more because you fucked it up really bad, so you need to stay there longer.
It's the police tactic, classic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Crime is going up. We must thanks Biden. Gas prices and crime are going up, so we must occupy the city with
militant force,
bazookas and tanks.
It's like we've done a real bad job, and that's not on us. That's because
we don't have enough money.
We don't have enough money. Yes, sure, we have half of your money already, but we don't have enough yet. We would like to have slightly more than half,
right.
and once we get slightly more than half, trust us, we're gonna get this thing nipped in the bud. We just haven't had enough money for the last 20 fucking years.
So they I guess spoke to the Taliban, and a commander said that in some already captured areas, the insurgency has had to scramble to take over governing duties because the Taliban can't keep up with the pace of their own gains. So they're just like capturing it, and they're like, all right, let's go.
This last paragraph, I know we're kind of skipping around on this one, but it's too fucking long to read all the way straight through. But
yeah,
this last paragraph here is what really makes my ears perk up about why this is getting written right now. Quote, the UN Special Envoy to Afghanistan, Deborah Lyons, told the UN Security Council on Tuesday that the Taliban appeared poised to seize provincial cities once US and NATO forces leave, and painted a bleak picture. The possible slide toward dire scenarios is undeniable, she said. End of article. Little NBC Peacock there. It's just like that last sentence of, yeah, we're pulling out, but man, it's going to get really bad once, like it's bad now, but once we're gone, it's looking bleak. Just, leaving it open there for, the reader, the discerning reader to just get that little seed of doubt planted. Maybe make it a little easier to just send a couple peacekeeping forces, maybe some like special ops guys go train some we can't just leave. We can't just completely pull. I mean, what would that
military
do to
contractors,
to the people of Afghanistan that we love so dearly? Pretty Western centric of you, Chan, to just not think about the people of Afghanistan and let the Taliban roll over them. So, I mean, if you're fine with that, we can leave. If you're fine with, the Taliban just stomping with its iron boot all over the countryside. I mean, if that's what you want, we can leave.
Look, Rob, I'm a charity case, okay? I need my government to give me things, and I'm not really afraid of the Taliban, to be quite honest.
Because we live in America.
Yeah, if they do 9/11 too,
which would be the first time they had done a 9/11, or to my understanding, had anything really to do with 9/11. So,
yeah, well, I'm just saying, the terrorists, the terrorists, over in the Middle East.
Yep, that one place, that one group of guys in that one place. Yeah,
and they all believe the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They just hate the U.S. like comically bad guys who are just like, aha, we must destroy the U.S.
And for no reason other than most Americans are Christians. That's the only reason they don't like the U.S. And that's the only reason that a lot of them don't like Israel, is because they're Jewish. And that's the only reason. It's all religion. Sam Harris was right. Every single one of those fucking dipshits that talks about how dangerous religion is, and then says, look at all the terrorism in the Middle East. That they're exactly right. No other forces at play here. They just don't like that some people believe different things.
Right.
And that's simple. That's sorted. We've sorted it.
Wrapped it up. What's next?
So this one is I hope this one's funny. This one just made me sad, but so this is
Perfect.
This is in the Atlantic's Ideas section, classic Atlantic section where only the best ideas are posted. The title of this is How America Fractured into 4 Parts. People in the United States no longer agree on the nation's purpose, values, history, or meaning. Is reconciliation possible? So this is
Oh my God.
another entry in the interminable slew of dodo-brained op-eds about polarization and how America is ripped apart. And it is exactly Make America Great Again shit from the other side. All of these are like,
Neo
we used to have a shared identity and a shared sense of national purpose. Boy, wasn't that great. And they never talk about the bad things from back then. So let's jump in here. I'll kind of skip around. Starting off strong. Nations, like individuals, tell stories in order to understand what they are, where they come from, and what they want to be. No, they don't. Nations do not tell stories. Off the bat, I'm disagreeing with this. National narratives, like personal ones, are prone to sentimentality, grievance, pride, shame, and self-blindness. There's never just one. They compete and constantly change. The most durable narratives are not the ones that stand up best to fact-checking. They're the ones that address our deepest needs and desires. Americans know by now that democracy depends on a baseline of shared reality. When facts become fungible, we're lost. More non-fungible facts, please. Give me those NFFs. But just as no one can live a happy and productive life in non-stop self-criticism, nations require more than facts. They need stories that convey a moral identity. The long gaze in the mirror has to end in self-respect, or it will swallow us up.
Boo.
This is one of my least favorite styles of writing, where it's like you can tell that the author has rewritten this paragraph a couple times, and when they settled on this, they're like, "Oh fuck yeah, that long gaze in the mirror is gonna swallow us up." Fuck yeah, that's great. That's great
gonna
writing.
get them.
That's great.
It's like an FCAT essay.
Yeah, and it's like that's fine, but there's just something so like self-aggrandizing about the style of writing. Like it's not. There's not like spelling mistakes in it, but it's just like so self-important. Tracing the evolution of. Oh, go ahead, Nicole.
No, I'm just gonna say it just feels like you can use this argument for anything. Like you could just take out nations, and you could just put in like critical race. You could talk about
racism.
that too.
No,
like,
this could go in the direction of. And that's why we can't teach critical race theory, because it will upset our very important moral sense of self. Like, this is nonsense. Yeah. Tracing the evolution of these narratives can tell you something about a nation's possibilities for change. Through much of the 20th century, the two political parties had clear identities and told distinct stories. I do not know what he, like... we'll come back to this in a sec. The Republicans spoke for those who wanted to get ahead, and the Democrats spoke for those who wanted a fair shake. Fuck you. That doesn't mean anything.
This is like a third grader's understanding of politics.
Yeah. Republicans emphasized individual enterprise, and Democrats emphasized social solidarity, eventually including black people and abandoning the party's commitment to Jim Crow. So, like, that line right there directly contradicts for much of the 20th century the political parties had clear identities. So that is like emphatically the opposite of the story of like partisan realignment. Like the parties had deep internal contradictions that were not reconcilable, and it took people shifting to the other party or dying to reconcile these differences on racial issues. Nonsense. Unlike today, the two parties were arguing over the same recognizable country. This arrangement held until the late 60s, still within living memory.
If you're a million years old.
And it's this like wistful, like when these people focus so myopically on polarization as like the ultimate evil in politics, you end up being wistful for a political era that is just fucking defined by both parties having ardent segregationists in their ranks. And it's like, what do you like? Why did they get along better? Could it be perhaps that they agreed on some pretty like objectively abhorrent things? Best not to interrogate that.
Let's not look too deep into the...
No. The two parties reflected a society that was less free than today. Yep. Less tolerant and far less diverse, with fewer choices, but with more economic equality, more shared prosperity, and more political cooperation. What were they cooperating on? What was that? Let's think about what might they... Anti-communism and segregation. Yeah, and the Vietnam War. Yep. All great things that we love to cooperate on. Liberal Republicans and conservative Democrats, what were they conservative on? Played important roles in their respective parties, furthering segregation. Americans then were more uniform than we are in what they ate, tuna noodle casserole, and watched Bullet. Great, you could have just cut that sentence out.
Yeah.
Even their bodies looked more alike. What's up? They were more restrained than we are, more repressed, though restraint and repression were coming undone by 68. That is some of the clunkiest.
Okay, wait. I
was
want to
writing
know.
this?
I really want to know how old is
you.
George Packer?
Oh my god.
He doesn't even look that
He's
old.
not. He is not old enough to write something this clunky.
Well, no. Like, I'm just okay. He's
really
60 years old. He was
younger than my dad.
He's my dad's age, exactly. Actually, I think he was born a few days apart from my dad.
Aw.
In August of 1960. My dad was and this guy were fucking 8 years old when he talked about in 1968. Like, he's talking about this as if, like, he said it's within living memory. No, it's not, bitch. You were fucking a kid when you were in the 60s. Like,
he just doesn't remember his parents talking about politics. So he's like,
he's
wow,
talking about politics.
So well.
Yeah, as if he knew.
Right.
Like,
the only thing he can remember is probably being in a segregated school because 1960
maybe, yeah.
1965 was Brown versus education. So yeah, like, and then the Loving case, which was 1967, allowed interracial couples to get married, and even then, like, that wasn't completely for the whole. I mean, to my knowledge, a lot of states didn't allow it, regardless, until like a couple years later. And I'm not.
It's just like.
So maybe that's all he can remember.
He's
but like
talking about it as if he was there or something.
Like at 8 years old, you're not like, wow, I'm really...
Wow, Woodstock. There's a lot of social liberation going on right now. It's just like you're still looking back at it like the same as we would. Like, you weren't there, and you're just learning about it through other people or like your parents telling you about it.
Yeah. And that's fine. Like, it obviously, we all talk about things that we were not alive for or experienced directly. But like, to talk about it as though like, oh, I remember back in the halcyon days when I would get home from second grade and not have to think about those kooks in Congress arguing with each other.
Rob, even their bodies looked more alike.
Yeah, that's bizarre. That I do not know what.
Come again?
What's up, buddy?
What is this?
What's up,
Mr. Packer? We have something.
That's a mocus, dude.
He is pretty sus down bad, my guy.
So he goes on to articulate. God damn it! He goes on to articulate 4 different narratives of America. He says, the 1970s ended post-war bipartisan middle-class America, and with it, the 2 relatively stable narratives of getting ahead and the fair shake. I love to get ahead in a shake. in their place, 4 rival narratives have emerged. 4 neat Tidy narratives. 4 accounts of America's moral identity. They have roots in history, but they are shaped by new ways of thinking and living. They reflect schisms on both sides, two sides of a divide that has made us 2 countries. Just two, extending and deepening the lines of fracture. Over the past 4 decades, the 4 narratives have taken turns exercising influence. They overlap, morph into one another, attract and repel one another. None can be understood apart from the others, because all 4 emerge from the same whole. You're doing... emerging from a hole. This is astrology. This is polarization astrology.
This is Lovecraft. This is body horror.
Yeah. Call the first... And I'm going to skip a good chunk of this, but
good.
Call the first... It's just, oh, God, it's not good enough to justify how long it is. Call the first narrative Free America. In the past half century, it's been the most politically powerful of the 4. Free America draws on libertarian ideas, which it installs in the high-powered engine of consumer capitalism. The freedom it champions is very different from Alexis de Tocqueville's art of self-government. It's personal freedom, without other people. The negative liberty of don't tread on me. That's... Sure, yeah. He goes on to talk about conservative movement emerging in the 50s, and then he gets to Reagan.
Good old Reagan.
In 1980, the first year I cast a vote, that I have skipped about six paragraphs to get here. Like this is, and he's still on the first of the 4.
It's a long article.
Yeah. In 1980, the first year I cast a vote, I feared and hated Reagan. Listening to trust that. Hold on to that. Listening to his words 40 years later, I can hear their eloquence and understand their appeal, as long as I tune out many other things. Chief among them is Reagan's eloquence of just like doddering around asking for jelly beans. Like what a great fucking speaker. As long as I tune out many other things. Chief among them is Reagan's half-spoken message to white Americans. Government helps only those people. Legal segregation was barely dead when Free America, using the libertarian language of individualism and property rights, pushed the country into its long decline in public investment. The advantages for business were easy to see. As for ordinary people, the Republican Party reckoned that some white Americans would rather go without than their share. Oh, sorry. As for ordinary people, the Republican Party reckoned that some white Americans would rather go without than share the full benefits of prosperity with their newly equal black compatriots. I think
I'd like
that's
to remind
large.
our listeners that Rob reads and writes for a living.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
He's normally really good at this.
That's why I'm so good at it. So like that's largely true, but again, it's just this kind of like, I don't want to just say juvenile, but like it's a very surface level understanding to like recognize that this narrative is founded on a racist lie, and to still like write an article saying like, well, at least we had a shared narrative, while you're saying that the narrative excludes about half the country. Like, there's nothing in there that's like factually wrong. It's just the like wistfulness with which he's writing about this horrible period. And he even just saying like, oh, I disagreed with him, but boy, he was eloquent. It's like, so what? Who fucking cares?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Obama was eloquent, but like, fuck that guy too.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't want an eloquent president. I want a president just like fucking bumbling over his words. I want Joe Biden. listen, fuck. I'm talking whether you like it or not. Yeah. Free America always had an insurgent mindset, breaking institutions down, not building them up. Irresponsibility was coded into its leadership. Rather than finding new policies to rebuild declining communities, Republicans mobilized anger and despair while offering up scapegoats. The party thought it could control these dark energies on its quest for more power, but instead they would consume it. What? How did those consume the part? Like, that worked out really fucking well. I assume he's talking about Trump. It's like that worked out pretty fucking well for them for 4 years there. They loved it. They got so much of what they wanted. It's exactly the same shit that Reagan was doing, except, Trump was funnier. Doing exactly the same evil bullshit.
He was a better content creator.
Exactly as senile, but you just saw more of it. There's no consumption happening there. They still got the tax cuts. They still got all the judges they wanted on every fucking court. They weren't suffering. Like, they lost one election. That was pretty likely to happen anyway. Like, yeah. So what's the second one? The second of the 4 distinct narratives that define the country.
All right, we're gonna have to speed this one up. We're gonna have to speed this one up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This guy's too much.
This is too. Yeah. I honestly, Jesus, I just kind of scrolled through. Did not realize how fucking long this is. Okay.
Neolibs.
Basically, the second narrative is Smart America. It's about how we have American exceptionalism because we're so smart, we're so good and smart. We're all smart, good boys. We all get good stars. Let's see. 3 in the fall of 2008. I don't remember what 3 is. Again, 3 of the 4 distinct narratives. In the fall of 2008, Sarah Palin, then the Republican nominee for vice president, spoke at a fundraiser in Greensboro, North Carolina. Candidates reserve the truth for their donors, using the direct language they avoid with the press and the public. Obama, clinging to guns and religions. Romney, the 47%. Clinton, basket of deplorables. Palin felt free to speak openly.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Yeah.
Jeb Bush,
I've got
please
hot
clap.
sauce in my bag. We believe that the best of America is in these small towns that we get to visit, she said, and in those wonderful little pockets of what I call the real America, being here with all of you hardworking, very patriotic, very pro-America areas of this great nation. Those who are running our factories and teaching our kids. So this is the real America, which to me reads very much the same as he's kind of copying his own homework with Free America. It's about the heartland and also very racist.
The silent majorities.
Yeah. Okay, American character changed in 2014. A large and influential generation came of age in the shadow of accumulating failures by the ruling class, especially by business and foreign policy elites. This new generation had little faith in ideas that previous ones were raised on. All men are created equal. Work hard and you can be anything. Knowledge is power. Democracy and capitalism are the best systems, the only systems. America is a nation of immigrants. America is the leader of the free world. So this is
woke America.
This is just America. Yeah, this is the liberal wokerati.
He goes on to say something that boils my blood.
Hit me with it.
He says, my generation told our children's generation a story of slow but steady progress. America had slavery, as well as genocide, intermittent, and other crimes to answer for. Genocide. We had that to answer for. Original sin, if there ever was.
God damn it!
I told you. Look at that context.
But it had answered, and with the civil rights movement, the biggest barriers to equality were removed.
Oh my gosh!
If anyone doubted that the country was becoming a more perfect union, the election of a black president who loved to use that phrase proved it.
What?
Oh God! It's just. This is that like Steven Pinker
Of course,
shit
the kids didn't buy it. In their eyes, progress looked like a thin upper layer of black celebrities and professionals.
I wonder why.
Yep.
Exactly what we're talking about.
Who carried the weight of society's expectations along with its prejudices, and below them, lousy schools, overflowing prisons, dying neighborhoods. Yeah, Yep. There you go. That's it.
That's the narrative.
Yeah, but he goes on to talk about identity politics. It's just all of these are the same article. Like this is just this is just a reskin of that first one.
Oh yeah, no, seriously.
Let's see how does he end this sucker? I don't think we are dying. Well, buddy, we have no choice but to live together. We're quarantined as fellow citizens. Knowing who we are lets us see what kinds of change are possible. Countries are not social science experiments.
Wow.
They have organic qualities, some positive, some destructive, that can't be wished away. Our passion for equality, the individualism it produces, the hustle for money, the love of novelty, the attachment to democracy, the distrust of authority and intellect, these won't disappear. A way forward that tries to evade or crush them on the road to free, smart, real, or just utopia. The four things you can be, free, smart, real, or just, will never arrive, and instead will run into a strong reaction. But a way forward that tries to make us equal Americans, capital E, capital A, all with the same rights and opportunities, the only basis for shared citizenship and self-government, is a road that connects our past and future. Meanwhile, we remain trapped in two countries. Each one is split by two narratives, smart and just on one side, free and real on the other. Neither separation nor conquest is a tenable future. The tensions within each country will persist as even the cold civil war between them rages on. It's just, this shit. So I think what bothers me the most, like the most fundamental problem with it is a story about political realities that that exclusively focuses on public opinion. Like it does not talk at all about like the institutional realities that like perpetuate certain parties winning constantly, or like that pressure politicians to respond to some interests but not others. None of that is discussed here. It is just some people think we're real and some people think we're smart.
Right.
And it's just like there's nothing actionable here. And it's like this weird mix of like naive optimism and like pessimism that there's nothing that can be done about it, and no accounting for anything other than like citizens' opinions. No other systems at play in this conception of things. And it's just why write this? Why spend the fucking time writing this?
Yeah.
A lot of time.
It just feels like a roundabout way of just being like, they talked about a lot of different ways that we have grown, but also just like, that's just America, you know, that we had all this stuff.
It's kind of disingenuous.
Yes, absolutely. That's a much better way of phrasing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like a childlike understanding of it's like it's somebody who knows a lot of historical facts. He knows a lot of dates and who was where when things happened, but there's nothing connecting these discrete events that he's writing about. Like there's no theory of like why these things happened or why things played out the way they did, other than well, they some people like these things and other people like these things. Yeah, there's nothing
they
to
don't
be
actually go through the work of like connecting stuff. You know what I mean?
There's no like further knowledge that can be gained from synthesizing these. It's just like, here are some facts that I enjoy.
Right. What's next, Rob?
Okay, I'll try and introduce this. So we've gonna try something a little bit different here in an episode full of new and novel things, like reading Atlantic op-eds aloud, something you can't get anywhere else on the internet. So we were all obviously very broken up about Champ Biden's death at presumably the hands of Major Biden. I cried. I changed.
Presumably.
I blacked out. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like.
Okay.
I feel like it would be. I feel like I would be downplaying kind of Major's power and virility if I assumed that Champ hadn't been slain by his younger brother. Very poetic.
Usurper.
That's the death he
usurper.
does. The usurper, but you know, he earned it. Major Biden is the Taliban of dogs.
Good for him.
And some other people who like dogs are the sickos and freaks that post on Nextdoor. Nextdoor, of course, is a neighborhood surveillance app. It's Facebook, but just with your neighbors. And this is our first go at a little segment we're going to call The Boy Next Door.
Working title TBA.
Nope, that's it.
Not actionable.
So I subscribe to Nextdoor as a proxy for self-harm. And Jesus. June 18th. Not going to say any names here. This is a post from June 18th. Title of the post: Bloodhounds. PSA.
Uh-oh.
Just because this sticker is on my truck and you see a beautiful red bloodhound in the truck, do not, I repeat, do not stick your hand in my thinking you are gonna love on some wrinkles and long ears, especially if I'm not at the truck. Your hand will be bit if you do. I will be honest, these red dogs are far from aggressive. Once I get them out of the truck and everyone can love on them and play with them, and they will be just as happy as ever. I'm going to link this picture. Well, no, I'll just describe the picture. The sticker that is on the truck, on one hand it says Shiloh. On the other side it says Bailey, Baylee. In the middle there is a bloodhound in front of a torn American flag. In a respectful way, respectfully torn. And above the flag it says nose down, tail up, tracking and recovery.
No, dude.
I don't believe it.
Where we go one, we go all.
Yeah. God, the user interface of this fucking sucks. I'm happy this ended well. I may have been harsh with the moron comment, but I think it should be common sense. People don't think. That's true. So that's just a little taste of some other dog lovers. Oh, I have one more for us. It's fast. This is a particular kind of psychosis that's been going around my neighborhood because there's a homeless shelter that was up for a while until a bunch of freaks with nothing better to do got the shelter shut down because they don't like to be reminded that there are people who do not have housing, and that's just too much to ask. Gotta put that on, the other side of town. Title of this post: Homeless couple with black dog. I gave $10 to them yesterday. I've seen them a couple of times around Park Avenue. Never begging. They look pitiful. I must admit, the dog was the reason. Just saying. Please consider donating to people that are down on their luck. I consider it my tithing.
What?
There's a lot happening in that. Like they look pitiful.
Gosh.
And I didn't, if they hadn't had the dog, if they were just two people suffering, I wouldn't have. I don't care about that. But they had a dog, and so I gave them $10, and now I'm bragging about it to all of my NIMBY friends on Nextdoor. We love dogs.
Consider being a good person like me.
Yeah.
Consider that my tithing.
Yeah.
My
yuck.
God, okay. A reply to this. This world is in pretty bad shape when people care more about animals than other humans. Yeah. Tithing is 10% of your paycheck. Everyone doesn't need to know when you do a good deed. God sees and knows, and that's what matters. Yes,
fucking
correct.
Roasted, yeah. Seriously.
I posted just to get people to think about donating to some cause. That's all. I am attempting to get a couple of businesses to place elder care boxes for pet food. Many, their pets are their only family. Hopefully they will. Animals are very important too. God bless.
What? It's as if they they jumped over. They just were like, I don't care about
that. They didn't even read it.
Yeah.
No, they just.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely don't think Sorry, it's just like someone's like, it's weird that you care more about a dog than two humans. It's like, I really love animals.
Well, see, the thing you don't understand is actually, I like dogs.
Yeah. My dogs my dogs love unconditionally. No, they don't. They have been trained to show you affection because you feed them. And I love a dog. I'm not anti-dog. I love a dog. They're great.
We have two.
They don't
dogs,
love you
by
unconditionally.
The way.
Yeah.
Listener, don't dog crazy crazy dog people don't.
If you kill them, you'll be leaving 2 dogs without without caretakers, and that would be the real tragedy. In today's world, I like them better than most people. Same guy as before. How will you explain that when you stand face to face with God? Jesus commands us to love. Owned. Roasted again. Roasted again. That's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
You hate to get roasted by a deeply religious person.
Ooh, I'll tell you, these two can work for money. You might feel bad for the dog, but when you give them money, they go into Publix to buy cigarettes, not dog food.
Oh
my god.
Fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck you.
People suck.
Yep.
That's the moral of today's episode.
I love Champ Biden more than I love that commenter with an indecipherable username. Not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. Just a series of consonants.
Well, this has been another episode of Boy Next Door. What is?
The Boy Next Door.
No, Boy Next Door. Yeah.
The Boy Next Door.
Boy Next Door. I like that
Official working title.
No, I like it.
Official permanent title of the section.
Next Door.
Okay.
Two voted against one.
Two to one.
It's
buy me Ableton Live 11. Just standard edition is fine, and I'll make a little theme song for the Boy Next Door.
Oh, okay.
Just email it to me, dear listener, if you liked that segment and want more music to go with it.
a theme song for the Boy Next Door segment, please. And on top of that, if you could follow us on Twitter at Please Clap Show and subscribe to us on YouTube at Please Clap Show on YouTube.
It's
I don't know.
Just Google Please Clap YouTube. It's the one that has the Please Clap yellow circle. It says Please Clap.
Yeah.
You recognize it from the podcast art.
You'll find it.
You're smart.
Good job.
us, yeah.
You might already be there. You might be listening to it on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
And this is for you if you are.
Hi there.
Good job.
Leave us a comment.
Tell us about your dog.
No, we don't want to hear about your dog. Fuck you. And we'll see you next week. We're going to be recording a live in-person at Rob's house episode.
Yeah,
that's right.
So excited.
So go America, Independence Day. Amen.
There are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns, but there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know know.
Finally, the decks were cleared for a real military response, not some piece of garbage.
And what is Aleppo?
Excuse me, but is this an unknown unknown?
I'm not going to say which it is.
Please clap.
We don't have a major enemy. I know it hurts your feelings. I know you're upset about it. Who you worried about? Iraq?
We have finally gotten more police officers on the street.
Gotta shape up.
Is it working? A 2-year-old cult member was also shot and killed.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators.
And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Whatever the fuck you want.
Who you worried about? Ronald Reagan.
George H.W. Bush.
William Jefferson Clinton.
George W. Bush. Barack Obama.
Jeb Bush.
Newt Gingrich.
Please clap.